Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hacking Your Health Podcast. This week, we talk a little bit about Ben's new Hacks 2.0 program, where he's really focusing on building from the foundation that he already has, what he's learned from Hacks version 1.0, and has built out a much better program, but also really with the benefits of helping more people and being able to really engage folks in success. And we talk a little bit about some of the latest studies around weight loss being much more superior than cardiovascular work when it comes to weight loss, and some of the control studies that were just released on that. Hate to say it, but cliffhanger, we were right again. But also, last but not least, the workout that I'm going to be doing with Diamond Dallas Page and yoga. So this is an episode you don't want to miss. We had a good episode this week, and look forward to catching up with you, and tune in again for next week for another exciting one.
You know that there has had to have been some sacrifice, whether it's time or nutrition or whatever it is.
Recording of myself talking about having a relationship with my chest.
I'm Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy.
And this is Hacking Health Podcast. Yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
We just talked about taking our pants off.
Yep. I'm just going to keep it in. I'm just going to keep it in. I said, I'm really warm. I might take my shorts off. And then both of us made the action of taking our shorts off. And I don't know if either of us are wearing shorts or not. And neither will you. Anyway, welcome to today's podcast. Dave, what's up?
Dude, I have been traveling like a madman. It has been crazy. I was in last week. I was in Oregon, and I spoke to Oregon State University, which was really awesome. I had to talk to both the staff, the faculty, alumni, and most importantly, like the students. Such an inspiring thing. It was like in this really awesome, cool 360-degree presentation room. So like you're in the middle, and there's screens all around with your presentation, and then there's like people everywhere, right? So you're presenting in all different directions, and it was kind of a unique experience. Really hard to get to Oregon, by the way. It took like the whole day to get there. And then as soon as I like literally got to my hotel, I changed into a suit, went downstairs, and then was from like 4 o'clock till like 9:30 at night, was just talking to people, entertaining, speaking. I was exhausted, and I had to wake up the next morning at 2 o'clock in the morning to shuttle it to the thing to get back, so I can fly out the next day to Augusta to go speak at Security Onion. So it has been a long week. In fact, I noticed it actually taking a toll on me, lifting wise, and as well as how I feel. It's amazing what stress.
Are you going to talk about the D word?
No, I'm back. I don't need that anymore. I'm good. I just needed some time off. But let's not talk about deload. That's not bad words that we want to be introducing to the folks here on the podcast.
Don't want to offend anybody.
But no, but I mean, so a good example is Saturday. You know, I wake up, I'm like, man, I'm dragging ass. I don't want to work out. And I go to do my, it's my full legs day. And it's my day that I really try to do my 1 rep max, or at least get into the 90th or 95 percentile my one rep max. And I go to do my deadlift, and I get to 500, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a brutal day, because 500 was hard. It was really hard, and I'm like, I just did 575 last week. What is going on? And I just wasn't feeling it. I did not want to lift. I was just exhausted. I was achy, just had no energy. And that day I just felt like total crap. And Sunday I was just like all sluggish. So, it's amazing what, stress and tolls can do onto your body, especially when it comes to, your weightlifting and resistance training and everything else. But I'm happy to say I feel pretty good today. Got a good lift in. Well, did Orange Theory today. I'm getting a lift in the afternoon. So things are actually going much better this week. Although I'm going to start traveling tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, the perspective I will offer you isn't it good that this isn't your life as it used to be, and the amount of traveling that you did?
Correct. Good. Can you imagine like having them maintain the same travel schedule as I did before, and try to operate with, lack of sleep, time zone changes, eating, not as great as I should be, and trying to get lifts in at, just random gyms. I mean, that is a tough thing. And I didn't actually realize how tough that really was when you're bouncing from city to city to city.
It would have been tough, but I mean, imagine we would have worked it out in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah. How you doing, dude? I'm doing good. So,
dude, yeah. I am fantastic. I I'm genuinely really good. What's going on with me? So update. I am just back from London. I spent not even 36 hours, maybe 28 hours in London. Helmy and I flew out yesterday morning to do a bit of an impromptu gym session with a couple of clients. Monica came and picked us up. We went for breakfast. We met with Luke and Meg. We went to King's Gym, which is a really fucking cool gym, just outside of, well, I'm going to say outside London. It is in London, but it's about 45 minutes from central London. A gym that I've wanted to go to for a very long time. Cool space, really big, loads of equipment, just a badass place. So trained with Helmy. Helmy and I have not trained together in a while. And that is a different experience, let me tell you. So we did that, and we went and got some food, checked into the hotel, we went out for dinner. Daniel also just happened to be in London the same day, so we went and got some sushi, hung out, grabbed a couple of drinks. Yeah, it was
How's Daniel doing?
Daniel's doing good. It was good to actually see him in person. I haven't seen him since Vegas, which was only 2 months ago, but I haven't seen him in 2 months. But it was good to see him. He is off to Iceland for a couple of days after London. It was really good to see him. Grabbed a couple of drinks, hung out for a bit, and then Helmy and I got up this morning and flew back, and then straight back into things over here. But no, things good, dude. I am obviously in the process of essentially breaking everything to rebuild it. A lot of people, or hopefully some people, at least one person, will have seen some sort of ominous tweets about me about a V2.0. So I'm essentially in the place that I am looking at my entire coaching process from start to finish and working out how it can be better. I virtually sat with about 25 clients on Friday night, with myself, with Ryan, with Adam, and with Travis. And I wanted them to sort of talk me through the first moment that they knew they needed to make change, what caught their eye in terms of the stuff that we put out, how it was from booking the call, how the call was, how the process was, the onboarding process, the first 12 weeks, the check-in sheet, literally every single aspect of the process that they had to go through, to give me honest feedback on what was good, what wasn't good, what needs changed for future versions. And tomorrow I'm going to sit down and go through all that. But it was funny because Boyd was on the call, and at the very start, he was like, I just want to take a second to give you the props that you deserve for actually doing this and putting yourself out for proper feedback. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. I was like, I just want to make this better, and it's not about me, and I'm not completely attached to a process. I want it to be better for you guys and for everybody who comes on board after. So it was cool. It was a cool experience to do. I came off really energized after the call. It was good to get some honest feedback. It was good to introduce Travis to the group. I'm sure he was like, what the fuck am I getting myself in for? For anybody who hasn't put two and two together, the coach that I've been talking about that I haven't mentioned his name is Travis. We'll get him on the podcast in the next couple of weeks. So it was cool to introduce him to the group and sort of introduce him to what we're doing. A lot of really valuable comments and conversations. I sent out a bit of a questionnaire. I'll actually send it to you, and you can fill it out too on your travels at some point this week. So I have a little bit more of a solidified answers. I'm going to sit and go through them tomorrow and essentially just break the whole process and rebuild it. And then obviously we can talk a little bit more as I go through that process. But it was very cool. It was cool for Rand to be there as well, because he was sort of taking the approach of what does he need to do more of or build more out of to sort of get more eyes and ears on what we're doing. It was the first time that I felt like I was really had a team of people in terms of I don't want to say working for me, but that's not what I mean. But people by my side that are, I guess, on the same journey and have the same vision. And I guess in line with that, one of the feedback pointer was for anybody who wasn't on the call and didn't realize that Adam was on the call when they were answering the questions, the questionnaire, who's Adam? Who are you talking about? I was like, Adam, did you all know? So just about an hour ago, I recorded a coach's hot seat with Adam, and just sort of talked about his journey in Hacks and sort of how he stepped into the role that I feel like he deserves and what he's going to do within the program and stuff like that. And I asked him sort of what his vision for We Hack Health and this is. And what he said is in line with, I guess, what we have spoken about, just put it in different words. And he said what he wants for We Hack Health is for it to be recognized within the industry beyond just what we're doing, almost like a recognized entity within the industry. It's not I see a sticker on a laptop, you're part of that, hashtag not a cult. A thing that can genuinely create change, and as we said, rewrite the narrative for an entire industry. So things are really good. I'm feeling very energetic about the whole thing. I'm looking forward to just literally tearing everything apart tomorrow, and rebuilding it and relaunching it. towards the end of next month. Training is going good as well. Put up some big numbers with Helmy, a lot of inspiration because he's infinitely bigger than I am. Was in a cool gym. Calories, my coach put my calories up once again, so I'm now eating 3,700 calories, which honestly is a lot of food. I pretty much consumed that all in sushi last night though, so it was good. But yeah, generally no complaints. Life is good. No, nothing to complain about. I am in a good spot. Training's good. Work is good. I feel like I have a direction. Good. Does that give you an update?
That is awesome. So it's interesting because you look at your Hacks program, and I remember when you first, talked to me before on the Hacks program, it was, you wanting to be able to do more of a cost-effective but yet simplified model for people to be able to reach more people in masses and help them out, right? You'd been really focused on kind of your premier tier coaching, really, really hands-on, one-to-one text messages involved in everyday other aspects, right? Which it doesn't fit everybody, but also you can't scale that to be able to help as many people as you need to, right? And your goal has always been to help a lot of folks. And with Hacks, version 1 and kind of how you've iterated through that, it's definitely undergone a massive transformation since the first time you released it to now, and what you're looking at kind of in the next generation. And I think it's really important for folks to understand is that, what you're doing is being able to put people in a successful position framework wise to start to develop habits and knowledge around how to be healthy and hit your desired results, short, mid, and long term, right? And I think that's a big difference is that it's a success program, not a program on diets or selling you supplements or, the latest fad out there. But it's also improving all the time. As you learn more about, how people interact and how you can interface people more, and bringing Travis in, for example, and Travis is a good friend. I've known him for years. A quality individual that cares, which is why I introduced you to him in the first place, right? Travis, very similar to how you operate as far as his kind of core beliefs and wanting to help others. I think it's going to be a really awesome success with the new launch, and I think you're going to hit a lot of people with it. And for me, it's kind of cool to see the progress. From when I first started to middle ground to now, really starts to see the successes. And I love how you're never satisfied with where you're at. You mentioned I'm going to blow it up, kind of build it from the ground up, and that's not true because you really have a good foundation. You're just, building a nicer house on that foundation to be able to support more folks, right? In a better way. And you're always continuously innovating. So I'm excited to see what comes out with it. And I'm curious to hear, your perspective, because you get to sit on a call with a lot of those folks and just hear, how you've helped them, obviously, and what they found beneficial, but ways that you could potentially improve. What were some of the main areas I think that you heard from a feedback, or you do not want to get into that yet?
I want to sit and properly dissect it, because the call, I was very conscious of people's time. Number one, what a fucking hugely privileged position for me to be in, that 25 people are willing to take an hour and a half out of their day to help me improve my business. I felt quite humbled by that, because they want to see me succeed as much as I want to see them succeed. So for them to take out the time and actually give me the feedback that will help me help more people, genuinely a huge privilege to do that. I recorded the call, so I'm going to go through it. It was very much like I was just given the questions, and the questions, they were dropping it in the chat. They were dropping answers in the chat. There was a bit of back and forward conversation, and then I did a follow-up questionnaire. So I'm going to spend tomorrow doing that. So, excuse me, cliffhanger. We can go through all that stuff, and I'll give you the feedback and sort of what the narrative of that was. There was some recurrent themes, and there were some things that I did expect. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not completely attached to the way that I do things, and I want to make it better from user perspective. So no better person to ask. And, again, what a privileged position to have so many people who are willing to give me feedback to help me grow and scale, to help more people. And yeah, Travis, like I said, we'll get him on the podcast for sure. One of the things that really, I don't say sold me on him, but whenever I met him, obviously whenever we were in Cleveland in August, one of the things that he said that he sort of lives by in terms of why he coaches and what his sort of coaching ethos was, he said it was about complete human optimization, and to sort of filter back to something that Sean said about what I do and what we do, looking after the whole human. And I think those two are very much aligned. I was like, look, this call is at 3:00. do you want to jump on the call just before? Because I feel like there's a lot of things I sort of need to warn you about, because like I had told him and he'd seen things, and he is in the Discord and he obviously sort of has an understanding, but when you're in it, it's slightly different. So I was like, this is what they expect. This is what this is going to be. And even, I guess, on a further sort of note on that, the introduction call for him to everybody was me asking them to tell me what the negative parts about my business were. So it was a bit backwards, but it was good. And I think he really enjoyed it. He sent me a message after. I could see he was taking notes the entire time. So I'm going to grab a call with him this week and see sort of what his feedback was. And I'm excited to sort of see him, I guess, find his feet within the team and within the community. So it was cool. It was a cool experience for me. And like, I'm genuinely really excited to see what's next. And I think the best way I can frame what version 1 was, and essentially what this entire year was with the events and everything is going on versus next year. This year was very much fuck around and find out, like, see what works, see what doesn't work, like in terms of events, in terms of like the coaching, in terms of like the Discord, like everything. Next year I'm going to act with a little bit more intent. So everything's going to be a little bit more intentional. So I'm sort of going to dissect this year, what was good, what was bad across the board, and then move into next year with a little bit more intent in terms of when the events are, what they're going to look like, who's going to be there, how they're going to run, what way the coaching is going to go, how many people are going to coach one-to-one, how many people are going to be in a group, how many people other coaches are going to look after, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very exciting.
The big question I have from all of this is Helmy still a big boy?
Helmy is fucking enormous, yeah. But like, do you know, it's funny because not that I don't feel like I'm a big person. I know I'm bigger than the average person. But see, whenever there's two relatively big people, like Helmy is infinitely bigger than I am.
Yeah.
But see, when you put two big people in a normal day-to-day situation, like we were sitting on the train today going to the airport, and I was like, it's like 2 seats beside. I was like, we don't fit here. Like this does not suit. This does not suit us. But yeah, no, he's a big boy, he's strong. It was good for him it was good for me to train with him. Actually, like I should train with him more often. But it was good to see, because he was like, oh, I'm on rest day. And actually, huge credit to him, because I messaged him a couple of weeks ago and I was like, what are you doing on the 8th of October? And he was like, no, what are we doing on the 8th of October? I was like, we're going to London. And he was like, oh, what for? And then he instantly messaged me saying, no, don't tell me. Just count me in. I was like, okay. So he picked me up on Sunday morning. I was like, I haven't told you anything. He was like, no, it's fine. We'll just do good. And I was like, okay, cool. But he was meant to be on a rest day. And I was like, are you going to train or not? And he's like, oh, I really should rest. But I could see him sort of get a feel for the gym, and it was a couple of cool pieces of equipment.
Like, yeah.
So we ended up, him and I trained shoulders and triceps, which was cool. So yeah, no, still a big boy. Funny, we had to go on adventures for very specific types of food, but it was good. It was good to spend some actual time with him and not just like in and out of his gym or different conversations.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always fun. I always find working out with a partner, even though I would say 98% of my time just by myself. Whenever I'm running with a partner, I feel, more like I can get better things done in dialogue and conversation. You get form feedback, and you're also kind of competing with a person in like a little bit of lack of a better term. So I think you get a better workout, obviously.
Pissing contest, I think, is the term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And obviously we get into pissing contests.
Yeah. It's like, we don't compete with anybody, but at the same time, we are competing. They might.
We completely let each other know too that we're competing with each other. Yeah. There's no hidden. No, we are competing. There's no question.
Yeah. But it's good. I mean, the thing about it is, I very much like training by myself, because it gives me that sort of headspace in that time. But there are a select few people that I also enjoy training with, because they do give you that extra push. And sometimes I was in the shed, and I was like, right in my head, I was like, I've got 2 more, and I could see Helmy in the background say 4 more, and I'm like, fuck. But then you do the 4, and it's like, okay, they are funny. There.
I got to tell you a really funny story, because this went through my head just the other day when I had my crap leg day.
Yeah.
I'm doing leg extensions, okay? And I'm literally at like 15 or 16 on the leg extension. And I could honestly do probably like 3 or 4 more very painfully. And I remember you saying 5 more, right? And I said, F you, Ben. In my mind, I said, F you, Ben, and I got off, and I didn't do this. I didn't do it.
That's not what that's meant to be like.
Today. Today's not my day to do 5 more. And I literally told myself that to you in my head.
The cardboard version of me, you were like flipping the bird, like, fuck you.
Literally, I'm like, talking to me right now, Ben. It's a bad day for lifting. You don't know me today.
Good. That's good, though. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's funny that you mentioned, and we'll take this full circle, I guess. Obviously I've spoken about like refining the brand and sort of creating values and like core beliefs and I guess like a code of conduct almost, and all the stuff that I sort of sent back and forward. I think we can both agree that it was very corporate bullshit in too many words, and we will release all of this in due time. And after the call on Wednesday, I'm also very grateful that I have a group of people like clients and team wise that they're willing to just say it as it is, and I do very much appreciate that because I don't like yes people in my life and they can just give me it straight. They just said this doesn't fucking sound like you or us at all. And whenever we stripped it right back, and I had a conversation then with Kira off the back of it, like there's a couple of phrases that I use that aren't wordy, but they have a huge meaning. And 5 more is one of them. And yes, it does mean 5 more in terms of actual physical reps, but it's like 5 more minutes, 5 more anything that you're doing. I don't want to say it's a way of life, but it can potentially look like that. And there's a couple other ones. So we circled right back to doing that stuff. In terms of building out the values and whatever else. But I'm a little bit sad that you didn't do just 5 more, but also I'm glad that you mentally said the words fuck you to me. I'm not doing them today. And like, I'm in your head, I'm not even anywhere near
in my head. I just wasn't feeling. Listen, don't get me wrong. It was still a fantastic, amazing workout. I had trouble getting up the stairs. I was sore, but it was not the day to be telling me to do 5 more, Ben. Okay, I'm just letting you know. In my head.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Good.
But that's cool, man. It's awesome that you're making progress on that, and you're always expanding and growing. At the same time, though, being able to impact a lot of people. It's been really cool. I was in B-Sides Augusta, and I had so many people come up to me and say, I listened to the podcast. You guys transformed my life. I used to be X. One of the guys there was Phil. He works at Security Union. Man, he lost like 150 pounds. I mean, he's like, Dave, how's it going? I'm like, hey man, nice to meet you. He's like, oh no, we've met before, but you don't recognize me. Trust me. I'm like, Phil, like I didn't and he showed me the before and after pictures. Like, I'm like, my gosh, like, congratulations, and just the first of all, security. I heavily recommend the Security Union Conference for folks, and then right after that's B-Sides Augusta. So next year, I think we should submit to there. I think that would be a good one.
Cool. I'm in.
To do like a tag team duo there. Really cool vibe, really cool people. The area is really neat. It's like right on the river there, and just a beautiful kind of small town type of feel. And really had a great time there. I will tell a really quick funny story though. So I had a really tight connection. So I was planning on actually staying for a lot longer. But I had so much stuff going on with all the travel that I got going, and I just wanted to get home. Mason was having like 10 kids sleep over. The next day I had tickets for the circus, which sucked horribly, by the way. Yeah. Well, and I understand why, and I'm okay with it. But like, so the circuses back in like 2017 took a lot of heat because they weren't treating the animals right, which I'm a huge animal lover and I love animals. So like, I totally recognize that. But I feel like there could have been like a good compromise of like, putting good regulations and making sure that the animals are treated right and having an awesome show versus like canceling the show completely and just putting humans in and not like people on like bikes and stuff. I'm like, where are the animals at? I didn't realize they had banned all the animals, or they redid the whole show to not have animals. So we went to the circus with no animals. So anyways, that was a whole nother thing. But, I just finished up this keynote for B-Sides Augusta, and I literally have 38 minutes to get to the airport for my plane to start boarding, and I'm 10 minutes away. Not a big deal. It's doable. It's tight, but it's not going to be a big deal. Okay. So I'd planned, I'm like, I had a side entrance to go out, so I didn't get, bombarded with people. I spent a lot of time, I got there super early, shook hands, got to talk to folks and things like that, because I really I wanted to stay. But as soon as I get done talking, I literally, bombing out the backside, and I go to my hotel, which is right next door, get my bag, and I go to Uber and Lyft it, and it says the nearest Uber or Lyft is 30 minutes away. I'm like, what? I'm like, 30 minutes? I'm like, there's no way. I'm not making this flight. And I go to the Marriott folks, and so the Marriott folks in Augusta, the Marriott there in downtown, most amazing folks ever. They're like, our shuttle doesn't run until 11. This is 10:30. My flight leaves at 11:15 or 11:10. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, is there it's fine. If it gets here, it gets here. If I miss it, I can just get a flight later on or something. And I kind of accepted my fate at that point. Right. And one of the bellhop folks, he's like, listen, it's not busy right now. I'll just give you a ride down there. And he goes and gets his car and he drives me down there. I was like, oh my gosh, like random act of kindness literally saved my butt. I literally got to the gate as they were calling the last group 4. And I walked right in, got my stuff. I'm all sweaty, and even better is that the whole global entry program that we have here in the States for which automatically gets you TSA pre-check. I lost it the day before, and they don't send you any reminder notices. By the way, it's like an 8-year program, and they don't send you any reminder saying, "Hey, your thing's expiring." So it expires, and you have to go through the whole process again, which takes like a month. And so I lost my TSA pre-check. So I'm like taking my shoes off, got to take my laptop out. I'm like the flight's leaving, and I'm getting through, and I'm just drenched in sweat. And I get to the gate. I'm like, oh my God, you're still here. Thank you. I tipped the guy a ton, by the way. I emailed them and their manager. And I also sent, I think, the corporate Marriott saying, you need to keep this person. He's an incredible human being. Talked to him the whole time. He's actually asking me about health and fitness the entire time and what he eats and macros. We got into a little bit of a dialogue. Like, hey man, can you speed it up just a little bit? But we made it and was able to get out there successfully. But it's amazing what a little bit of random acts of kindness can do. But while we're at B-Sides, I mean, so many people talking about their weight loss journeys, how they've lost weight because of the podcast. It's so, even be able to hit people that aren't in your program, but also people that need that trainer side, mental health, side of the house. I highly recommend it, obviously, for what you do, and have been an advocate of that. I'm still a full paid customer, no discounts. I make sure of that. And because I believe in what you do and what you have done for me and continue to do for me. So, it's awesome to see kind of the next iteration of hacks coming out. And you've obviously sent me a lot of the teasers and things that are going to be in it. It's going to look really good to the community.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the mindset stuff and everything else, like one of the big things that's going to change from the 2nd of November, regardless, is there's going to be an additional call every week. And it's not just to have calls for the sake of having calls. Like, we obviously have the group call on Monday, we have the group call on Wednesday that I will continue to do, but there will be an additional call that will be more. And what I mean by that is, 1 call per month will be Kira. Obviously, Kira's been on the podcast. She's a mindset coach. She's just relaunched her brand on the 1st of October as the holistic high performance coach. Maybe actually get her on again. So the stuff that she did, and I said to her, I was like, look, I know we've worked together in the past, but I want to be your first holistic high performance client. So whatever happens, make sure I'm the first. I don't want to hear anything else about it. I'm the first. So she's going to come on. She's going to do a monthly mindset call. We're going to get Sean. Obviously everybody has access to the 555 Club, all the breathwork, the meditation, and the journaling stuff. They still will continue, but he's going to come on and do a monthly call too, because obviously you've been on sessions before that are a little bit longer and a little bit more intentional. So he's going to come on and do a live breathwork call with everybody again once a month. Beyond that, we're going to do a coaching corner or a coach's corner call. So that will obviously be me, Travis, potentially Adam. Helmy if he wants to come on. Adam reminded me about Jared Feather that we met in Vegas. He sent me his number, so get him on to come and sort of do stuff like that. And then we'll do like a special guest or somebody else once a month as well. So that sort of additional value that goes beyond, just the sort of training side and, just me, essentially. It's back to what we said. And when we record the podcast at your house after Colorado, like I'm very much aware that this thing is bigger than me now. I'm sort of bringing experts in to fill their role and sort of build out things that are beyond just the training nutrition side and the benefits of that and things that other people need to overcome. Because I've seen it time and time again, the value that people get from other people being a part of it, and the calls with Kira and even Kira coming up in the Belfast event. I know that there's a lot more to it. I know some people need things that some people don't. I know that a lot of people don't know a lot of the stuff that they need until they're at the inside. So I want to make sure that the tools and I guess everything's there and accessible for everybody to be success. And as you said, I want it to be a success program more than anything else.
And I know it will be. You got a lot of great people around you. You got a lot of cool things, I think, happening as far as the group is concerned, your tribe. You already have that established and built and a support system around that, right? And so bringing new folks into there and giving you honest feedback, I think is really awesome. So I know it's going to be a huge success, no doubt about it. And you're going to continue to get better with it as it goes along. So no question.
Cool. Thanks. Well, we'll continue to document the journey and we'll see where it goes.
Well, I do have a study here that I want to talk about, unless you have something you want to continue on.
No, let's do it by all means.
All right. So I feel like another vindication for Mr. Canning here, as far as the science coming out and why that is a narrative around success. So there was a recent study, and what's interesting about this one that I really like, it was a control study, which is the best you want to have, so you can monitor macros, habits, things like that. And it was with a fairly large group of people, so 186 people with type 2 diabetes. And what they looked at was they had the exact same macro counts in food, which is actually really difficult to do in control studies. Controlling humans and what they eat for larger periods of time. But what's great is these folks were a type 2 diabetes stage, so they had a lot of kind of ability to work with them on the macro side of the house and be able to follow the same amount of protein, carbohydrates, and fats that were consumed. And so what they did is they did 3 different exercise regimens that were compared: strength training 3 times per week, moderate to vigorous endurance training 3 times per week, or a time equated combination. Controlled groups also reported the same amount of macronutrient intakes, i.e. how much protein, carbohydrates, and fats they consumed. The results revealed that while both groups lost weight, the strength-only group experienced a substantially larger, greater loss in fat, as well as a significant increase in strength and lean mass, and a far greater decrease in insulin resistance as compared to the cardio group. Boom, mic drop. 186 people, type 2 diabetes control study, showing weight training being far superior in every way, shape, or form for overall health, ability to lose fat, insulin resistance, than cardiovascular work. Now, why is that? And so there's a couple of reasons why. According to experts, this increase in muscle mass is important for losing fat since it acts as a big sponge to soak up excess glucose, which contributes to improved regulation of blood sugar. When there's too much insulin and blood sugar in your bloodstream, your body winds up putting the excess sugar into storage, which can cause weight gain. While all groups lost fat, another trick for strength training was that the participants were the only group who underwent significant body recomposition, i.e. lean muscle mass to fat mass ratio. Again, sculpting the body the way we want to. Everybody goes and hits the cardio up and loses all the weight, and they're like, hey, I'm still skinny fat, right? So now we actually have a transformation in your body recomposition, so body recomp, as well as getting stronger, losing more weight, and ability to have better insulin resistance and ability to lose more fat that way. The research supports the science on strength training, which is known for supporting the body in weight loss for its ability to boost the metabolism by building muscle. Muscle is more metabolically active, meaning you have the more calories you burn at rest, which in turn prevents obesity. So we've been preaching this for years and years and years on this podcast, for 2 years, I guess, right?
Years.
Yeah, 9 years. We've only been here for 2 years, but 9 years. But we've been preaching this for the longest time, that the more body mass, in the last 2 podcasts we talked about as well, right? And being in a slight surplus versus deficit, the more muscle mass that you have or that you're able to grow and maintain, the more calories you burn throughout the day. Think about cardio, right? I know when I do cardio, I'm depleted. I feel exhausted. My entire body just underwent a massive shock. I'm, extremely hungry. I just want to pound calories, right? When I get done with resistance training, it's not like I'm completely like exhausted. So I just had like a complete train wreck day where I was just on fire and I just kill myself, right? That's not happening every day. So I'm not like exhausted for food where I have to replenish because my entire body's depleted of all glucose. I'm definitely sore. I put the work in. I know that I worked out, but I'm not like starving that I need like a whole turkey or something afterwards, right? So, or a whole box of Oreos. So, when you do cardio, you typically will eat more unless you're in a really restrictive diet, which we don't like to say here, where you're saying, like, hey, I can only eat 1,500 calories. And if I work out, well, maybe I deplete an extra 500 calories, during that cardio cycle. So now I'm in a deficit where I start to lose weight. Okay. But you start to lose that weight, you're losing muscle mass. Now, interesting enough, the whole miracle weight loss drug that we're seeing with, semaglutide and tirzepatide or Wegovy and Mounjaro, what they're showing with those studies is that while you are losing weight, there's a extreme loss of muscle mass as well with that, because you're not able to get enough protein in eating food. You're basically starving your body. And where does it go to get those calories from? Well, it eats away at your muscle. So you drop bone density, you drop muscle mass, and you drop fat. Congratulations, you lost the weight, but you're extremely much weaker, which then, thus, from a longevity perspective, the 2 leading indicators of longevity being cardiovascular health, which does improve with losing weight, which is great, but also your grip strength, i.e. muscle mass, because of falls and being able to keep yourself up, The more muscle mass you lose, the faster you're going to die. So, there's a balance between all of this. So what you're seeing is a balanced approach to this, but weight training being the staple of that from a fat loss perspective. Build more muscle, get the body you want to, right? You get the recomp that you want to, but at the same time, you're able to burn more calories, thus being able to eat more, which you like to do in the first place. I like to eat more. I like to eat food. Definitely don't like eating 3,500 calories every day, but I'm there, but you're able to continue to grow and make progress in a long-term fashion than these fad diets, and again, we're coming back to it. Cardio, 5 times a week or 7 times a week is going to wreck your freaking body, unless you're really built for that. I mean, there are some amazing people that can do that, and that's their thing, cool beans. But, when you're doing weight training 3 times a week, they said, had far superior benefits than someone doing more cardiovascular work than losing weight and fat loss and being able to maintain that. So keep up with the resistance training, keep up with, pushing things out and being able to build muscle mass and eating appropriate calories to get you there. Now, you have to recognize that if you're starving yourself and you're not getting adequate protein amounts or the ability to really maintain, your energy levels, you're probably not going to advance either. So you need to eat the right amount of calories. You need to understand that resistance training is going to be a long process, but you're going to grow in strength and you're going to grow in your ability to shred fat loss. Like when Ben and I go on cutting phases, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easy. Like we just shrink our calories down a little bit and literally the fat rolls off of us because we're focusing on protein. So we have enough protein to maintain the muscle mass and everything. And by the way, we're also fuller for longer because protein keeps you fuller for a much longer period of time, i.e. feeling that you've eaten enough food. You don't need to keep eating. And then on top of that, you're eating less food. So your body's just like, oh, well, I need to start pulling away from fat stores because I need to contain the muscle mass because I have enough protein here. So I'm not going to eat the muscle. So I'm going to take the fat, I'm going to take everything else away, and you start to shred. So it's this process for long-term stability, and the science is backing it up. Everything we've been talking about the past 2 years has been backing it up. And, it's great to see these large control studies come out that continue to just back up that the way that we talked about cardiovascular exercising in the past, not the right way, not appropriate. It's resistance training. It's putting ourselves through strain when it comes to weightlifting. Those are the things that are going to keep us living longer and healthier.
Agree. And I will say this, as someone who loves cardio like myself. No, I'm kidding.
That's not true.
I do not like cardio at all, but that's fine. What I'm saying is both. I firmly believe that it has to be both. Like you need to do both weight resistance training and cardio. And I think that it doesn't need to be one or the other. I wouldn't recommend doing one or the other. If you are going to do one over the other, obviously I'm going to say to do weight resistance training, because we know that, obviously, like you said about the studies and just on the cardio side, and you have done it yourself. You got to the place where you just do cardio and then you're not happy with how you look. In line with that, I'm actually going to a bit of a shout out to a client. Thomas in the group this week got the most recent blood results back. My A1C has now dropped into normal ranges. I'm no longer pre-diabetic. This whole health thing is working. Thomas, I mean, so much to say, but I guess we're just over 9 months in, and that's one of the reasons that he did start, because obviously he had that sort of realization from his doctor that something needed to change, or he was going to move towards the diabetic bracket. Thomas over the last 9 months has lost 65-ish pounds. Actually, I'll give credit to both him and Jen. I coach both him and his wife, and between them, they've lost maybe close to 120 pounds. Thomas, I've been coaching for 9 months. Jen, I've been coaching for 7, I think. And I think that fully embodies the We Hack Health. It's like, okay, there is this problem with my health. I want to change it. I now do this thing, and the people around me are now interested in the thing they do, and the quality of his life and her life, their family's life, their friend's life, and beyond has just expanded. Like I've had many conversations with Thomas recently about the people who have started to come to him, family members, friends, asking for advice on what he's doing, what he's eating, how he's training. And I imagine, being in that situation, to be the person who has struggled for so long, and then now getting people come in and asking for advice and help them, seeing that person as a motivation and inspiration is exactly like them two together are exactly what this whole movement of We Hack Health is about. So shout out to Thomas on the blood work and obviously success that he's had. And he has really genuinely found a love for feeling strong. He just hits insane numbers. Like he's an insanely strong dude. And And it's just, this is exactly what it's about for me.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, it's a success story after success story after success story. At a point in time, you got to think like, when is everybody finally going to believe that everything that we're doing here actually works?
Yeah,
then you get the haters that are like,
proof.
well, it's funny.
We have an undeniable stack of evidence. Come on, like just
literally
get involved. Do you know what I mean? Like, start making the change.
It's funny because I look at Dr. Lane Norton or whatever. He takes so much crap online because like he like a lot of these folks that are just like so ingrained in their cognitive bias around like keto, for example, or everything else. And Dr. Lane Norton's like, listen, keto's fine. Like if that works for you, great. But like there's other alternatives too. Like you can eat carbs. Like you can, it's calories in versus calories out. Strategic carbs when you're going to work out or do something else makes perfect sense. Our bodies are designed to handle it. Like, no, we were doing this, and this. And then, there's a study that shows like, hey, part of the humans that lived at the equator ate predominantly carbohydrates and lived just fine. It's just extremes in any way, shape, or form, and saying that it has to be finite is such a wrong approach. We don't say cut out your favorite foods. We don't say have cheat days. We say, hey, eat within your means of your body, right? And your desired results and goals. And that's the framework that you can live successful by. I tried keto for 6 months and I was miserable. Like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like, it sounds amazing at first on paper because you're like, fuck, like meat and cheese. Like, I could do this all day long. Like, I can eat meat and cheese. And you're like, I don't ever want to eat meat again because you don't have anything else to go along with it. Why put yourself in some sort of restriction when you can eat whatever you want to just within moderation, right? You can't go out and pound a whole, large size pizza every day. Maybe you can if you're doing, 10 hours of cardio and 15 hours of lifting, but it's one of those things where you have to be able to put the amount of effort in and out to be able to get that. And that framework that you've been able to pull and that we're, again, showing by science and everything else and all the success stories, it's flexible, right? You need enough calories to be able to build muscle. You need adequate protein. And then after that, fill in with what you want to, and that's really the basics of it. And then from there, put in the time and work. 3 times a week is not, that hard to do within your lifestyle. Can you literally give an hour 3 times a week, to put time into yourself? That's all you're asking for, right? And you might do more than that. I do 5 days a week, but that's because I'm crazy. Ben's crazy, but we have, specific goals and results, right? But 3 days a week is amazing.
Yeah.
3 days actually is probably, to be honest with you, better than doing it 5 days a week. But we're never going to admit that because
updates Dave programs to just train 3 times per week.
No, would not have. I would lie all the time. I'd be like, nope, didn't work out today, and I definitely worked out today. So there's no question.
Just you saying about you doing keto, I got a text from mum on Thursday saying, just listen to the latest podcast. Firstly, LOL at Dave being a vegetarian. Secondly, I needed to hear that about protein. Been to the gym 3 times this week, and I feel great. And that is directly from my mum. And I still, like, one of the most shocking things that I've ever heard you say is about, of everything you've ever told me is about you being a vegetarian. But no, you're exactly right. And actually, 2 points. Number one, on the call today for the Hacks group, what we do in that is basically we pick a topic and everybody has a group discussion. And I'm very conscious that the holidays are coming up. I don't mean to put the fear into everybody, but Thanksgiving's only 7 weeks away. And I just wanted to get a gauge as like how everybody was feeling about it, because usually it's a bit of a like, oh fuck, this is going to be a shit show. Like, I'm going to eat so many calories. I'm surrounded by foods, blah, 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 blah. So I just wanted to get a bit of a like temperature check to see how everybody was feeling. And everybody's like, cool. And it's like, no, I know exactly what I need to do. I know the direction I'm going. I know what I need to do up until this point. I know what my plans are. I know how I'm going to handle it. I know how I can manage the calories. I know what I do need to do and what I don't need to do. And everybody's absolutely cool about it. I'm like, that to me is, it's like, oh no, I can't go to that place because I can't eat that, or I'm not allowed, or there's carbs in that and I can't do it. It's like, no, it's cool. It's just another day. I'll just manage it slightly differently, or I'll bank my calories before or whatever. And again, back to like, that's exactly what I want. Like, you can live your normal life and just sort of give yourself some sort of boundaries and guidelines around things, and know that you can go to events and you can celebrate things and you can have family dinners and you can be a part of everything. It's like, oh no, I can't eat that because I have to eat my own special meal that I've prepared in my house and whatever else. And it's like, that's not living. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're doing this thing to improve the length of your life, but also the quality of your life. And if you live in that, like, I can't do this and I can't do this for that reason, it's not necessarily improving the quality. And exactly again what you said, when I was talking to Adam earlier, like, yes, okay, keto works, that's absolutely fine. But for me, it's about not fully being attached to one thing and knowing that it's flexible. And like I said, I'm not fully attached to the way that I do things. Like if things change or science changes or a person doesn't fit the way that I do things, or it needs to be changed to that person, like good, that's fine. Like the goal is to build the framework and the system around that person so they have success. It's not, I'm not like well, no, if it's not my way, you can't do it. It's like, okay, right, well, if that doesn't work, then let's find out what does work. And there are infinite ways to do this. And if I have a client that enjoys doing keto, fine.
Sure.
I'll give them shit about it every single week whenever I see them or speak to them or in the group call and the group chat, no problem whatsoever. But if I give them a calorie goal and a protein goal and they want to do it by consuming protein and fats, cool. If that works for them, absolutely fine. But they will get shit for it. But it's understanding that everybody's different and everybody needs a different process. But giving the framework and the guidelines is the way that I think is the best way to approach it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think when you look at an approachable way to build a framework, frameworks are designed to be flexible and they're designed to be based off, like in cybersecurity, you base your framework off of the organization. You kind of mold and morph it into, your policies, your structure, your governance components that fit into that framework, right? Every business is different. Every person is different, right? They're raised differently. Their body types are different. Their goals are different. How they were up, that they might have injuries or existing ailments. They might, prefer keto because maybe they have diabetes issues or things like that, right? So there's a lot of different reasons why there's a flexibility around this, and there's no finite solution to fitness and to getting the goals of weight loss and everything else out there. But the good news is that it's flexible in every single way or form. So if you have ailments, we can work around that. If you have, preconditions, we can work around that, right? If you have different food restrictions or things like that, you can work around that, your lifestyle, whatever is that being. But it's a matter of being able to recognize where your body's at, why it's in that state and why you aren't happy, and being able to build a solution to address those concerns, just like we would in a cybersecurity program with risk. We look at what's our top critical risks out there, who are our biggest, take a look at our threat models, build our threat models out, and then from there start to build and implement our security program based off of, higher probability and risk issues. Same thing on the fitness side of the house. We got to look at what is our highest risk factors. Well, it's how I eat. It's how I sleep. It's the time that I don't put into moving my body around. What's that? Environments, right? People that you're surrounded with, by the way. All of those things impact your overall health and life and your motivation to go and do things. And so how do you make those small changes that allow you to put you on a course correction that allows you to be successful? In cybersecurity, again, if your program's failing and you continue to do the same thing over and over and over again, what's going to happen? Well, your program's still going to fail, right? But if you make small changes with the long-term ability to address it, a good example, when I worked at Diebold as a chief security officer, vulnerability management was a major issue because, a lot of legacy systems, the way that it grew through acquisitions, everything else, yada, yada, yada. This is years ago. They've since, obviously shored a lot of this up, primarily due to the team that we brought in and was able to build. But, when you look at a vulnerability management program, you say, well, I'm going to start fixing all these vulnerabilities. Okay. We have 5 million vulnerabilities. I'm going to fix them all. And you start chunking away at those 5 million vulnerabilities over time. And what happens? Well, you didn't fix the root cause of why of those vulnerabilities were there in the first place. And you're going to continue to get more and more vulnerabilities because you didn't fix your change control process or ownership of those systems or get a good governance structure in place around vulnerability management to be able to address those patches long term, right? So, think of this in the same way as a fad diet. Well, if you're just doing a fad diet that's only going to last 6 months, well, you're not fixing the core issue of the problem, which is, again, sleep, nutrition, weight training, moving your body around, and having a plan to get you there with progress and milestones to ensure that you actually address it. So it's just knowledge. It's just understanding that it's calories in versus calories out and building upon that foundation to get you to a point that allows you to be successful. And what I can say is that if you do this, I don't have to sell this to everybody here, but if you do this, it will work. Like it will work when it has failed before and in the past. It doesn't mean, by the way, that we might relapse and go back a bit or whatever, things happen in our lives, but this is a framework that you can move to whenever you want to get the desired results. And hopefully it's something that sticks with you, for the rest of your life. And for me, I know it's something that will, I don't know if I'll be able to, do deadlifts for 600 pounds when I'm 80, but my hope is I can,
you won't be able to with that fucking attitude if you keep saying you won't be able to.
Why is there a random check? Why was there a thumbs up there in that?
I don't know.
What's going on? You see that?
I can see your thumbs up. I don't have one.
The heck? That's crazy. I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, what the heck? Are you messing with me?
No, I'm not doing anything.
You're not doing it? What is going on? What the hell is going on? I'm freaking out here right now. So do another thumbs up and what the heck? 2 thumbs up. Okay.
Why do I not have that? I want the celebration. For anybody who is listening and not watching, there's that thumbs up and bubbles coming up, and Dave does 1 thumbs up, and if he does 2, there's fireworks going on in the background. What the fuck?
I'm trying to do other things but 2 thumbs up is like an explosion in the background with what the heck? This is something new. This is new. Huh. Okay. Anyways, so
back to regular scheduling.
We derailed this a little bit. But seriously, I mean, it's all attainable. It's all doable.
Yes, it's all doable. That's it. Long story short, it's all doable. Good.
Yep.
I like the way that we can discuss this and you can make it relatable, because I think that that's often I can have a conversation about one thing, but it might not hit in some way. Whereas if you can make it relatable to cybersecurity and what people know that are listening, it's okay, well, that makes sense. How can I take this story that I know about this thing and move it over to here and move it into my own framework for changing my habits, behaviors, etc. So that's good. We should do more of that. Note the future, Ben and Dave, do more of that.
That's right. So next week we got another podcast, but I do have some exciting news. And this is locked in, so I can announce it. But we will hopefully be having a podcast with the Diamond Dallas page.
Do we need to become prepared for that? Because we don't really prepare.
I don't know. Dude, I don't know what's going on. So long story short, I met him a couple of weeks ago. If you listen to the podcast, you know the story. But he invited me over to his house. So I'm actually flying out to his house and working out with him an entire day. And we're gonna be doing a podcast. And he's I'm actually really nervous about this because I'm literally gonna be working out with Diamond Dallas page. And he's interviewing me. I'm gonna be on his app, for DDP yoga, DDPY, which is their yoga program.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. This is my first time really doing yoga. And the way he explains it is it's yoga for people that would never be caught dead doing yoga, which I think is a really great slogan right there, right? But man, he is such a humble, kind person. I'm just looking forward to getting to know him a little bit more, and we'll see how this goes when we interview on the podcast. But I'll be spending a day and a half basically
doing yoga.
Doing yoga, yeah.
I hope
be crazy.
I hope he has, and he strikes me as the sort of person that he has a cold plunge somewhere in the yoga house vicinity, and I hope you have to do a cold plunge too. And I'm looking forward to having the conversation, because obviously I would imagine you're going to do the yoga and then we're going to have the conversation. So I'm excited to get the immediate feedback of how you feel.
Yep, I'll keep you posted. And maybe I'll be adding yoga to the routine here, right?
That's it. It's 3 days training, 4 days yoga.
That's right. Or maybe it's gonna be 7 days yoga and nothing else. That's it.
See, I mean, I can program this, no problem.
I doubt it. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in for this week's podcast of another Hacking Your Health. We'll come back to you next week, but hopefully you learned something new, and really excited to see the new Hacks 2.0 release and what happens with that and kind of the feedback you're getting from the different folks out there. I think it's really awesome, and excited for you.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for being a part of it. And thanks everybody for listening. As always, share us with a friend, drop us a follow, see you in the Discord, see you on the internet. See you next week.
Later.